Let's get back to some innocent laughter and charm. It's time for the 10 best games for kids on PC. First off, we're not saying that these are not also games for grown-ups. You don't need to share any of these with anyone under 10 if you don't want to, but it's always important to flag when things are family friendly. There's plenty of time when the sun goes down for you to head back to Night City again. We've actually done a best kids games video on the channel before. You can click the link on screen now. So we're making sure there are even more recent titles like Fall Guys and Among Us. Oh, and speaking of us, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, join us at Logitech G by clicking the subscribe button now. Thanks! So, let's look at the 10 best kids games on PC right now. Thing about dogs is, they have two ends. Wait, don't go, hear me out. One end is all about love and kisses and who's a good boy. And the other? Well, the other is less about that. The tail is nice, but then... But what if a dog had twice the good bits? Well, hello, Phogs. In this long-awaited, colourful 3D platformer, you control Red and Blue, a pair of dogs connected in the middle by a joyously stretchy body, steering this happy pair through the world of food, sleep, and play. You can play on your own with a single controller, share a controller, or play local and online co-op. This means it's perfect for kids to experience on their own, or when you can convince them that they really need your special brand of help in order to finish a puzzle. Even when they really, really don't. It's hard to say anything about Among Us now that hasn't already been said, but perhaps you've been aboard an errant spacecraft and have managed to survive the journey to Earth. Put simply, the runaway unexpected hit of 2020 is a 2-year-old game about identifying the imposter.
I just don't trust Louise.
A member of the crew intent on killing everyone aboard, like a human version of Ridley Scott's Xenomorph. And the way to do that without everyone being picked off is communication. Talking to your fellow crew members over text is absolutely essential, but of course it's entirely up for abuse by the imposter themselves.
She's chasing me, Matt.
Of course they're going to say they were innocent. I was right here doing important spacecraft jobs the whole time. Definitely not lurking in a dark corner. Honest. Among Us is compelling, if murdery, fun. And of course, kids dutifully absolutely love it. If you remember growing up obsessed with Zoo Tycoon, then it's a no-brainer that the younger generation will find absolute glee in Frontier Development's Planet Zoo. This impressive animal sim embraces the 21st century ethos of conservation, so while you'll obviously want to keep your guests entertained with as many adorable animals as possible, it's equally important to make sure you're giving your creatures the best life, and keeping your park goers educated at the same time. And while the goal is to look at the bigger picture and design a fully fledged mega zoo, the devil here is in the detail. Animal enclosures must be made up of just the right flora to keep them happy.
It looks like these tigers need a few more plants in their habitat.
And toys are essential for everyone to stay in a suitably playful mood and not do that horrible pacing thing. Just don't be surprised if you end up taking on nighttime duties in the park, just to make sure everything is running smoothly, of course.
Aren't they just incredible?
Nostalgia can be a terrifying thing. It can mean suddenly looking back at the games you grew up with and realizing that you truly had no taste. But the good news is that when you load up the Spyro Reignited Trilogy, you're suddenly in a warm, reassuring embrace.
Sure.
Telling you that yes, it truly always was this wonderful. It just didn't always look quite like this, even if you remember that it did. And that means you'll feel wonderful passing all your knowledge on to the next generation. A warning though, while you might have tips for chasing the egg thief, the best flight angles, or just general flamey advice, it will probably be ignored. You didn't need any help then, did you? At least you can pick it up again once everyone has gone to bed. Oh, I missed you, little purple dragon.
I hate dragons! Yeah!
One of the starring attractions on our games that arachnophobes should avoid at all costs. Kill It With Fire is a scuttling, gleeful experience that kids will find brilliantly horrific while you hide safely behind their gaming chair. As the name suggests, this is a spider murder simulator. Ignoring everything we said earlier about conservation, this isn't for the let's let it out the window brigade. Instead, you must hunt down all the spiders lurking and squeaking in a series of environments, only unlocking the next section when enough have been shriveled into those sad little leggy balls. Whether you're using shurikens or just good old-fashioned hairspray and a lighter to create your own homemade flamethrower, this is some relentlessly satisfying revenge for that time you all saw a spider with knees in the living room that then disappeared and you haven't seen it or slept since. The problem with any kind of sequel or even adjacent project to one of the biggest games in the world is, how do you follow that? Well, Minecraft Dungeons does that by saying, we're not replacing the blocks you love, but how about we go and look for loot with friends? And at that, Minecraft Dungeons truly excels. As you'd expect from Mojang, this blocky experience doesn't just look beautiful, but perfectly distills the mechanics of something like Diablo into a more concentrated and easier to digest form. 9 very recognisable biomes await here for intrepid adventures, and there are plenty of bosses just waiting to hand over oodles of loot. Throw in some inevitable weapons upgrades and reassuring live system, and this is some brilliant dungeon crawling with stylish stabilizers for future loots players. Another, oh really, you're trying a follow-up, is Worms Rumble, a brand new way to play with your favourite squidgy hat wearers. This time though, instead of the traditional, slow-paced, holy hand grenade-packed experiences of yore, Worms Rumble is a 32-player, real-time, arena-based brawl. But don't worry, there are still plenty of holy hand grenades. There's no local multiplayer option here, meaning online play is essential, but this is a clever use of everything that's so compelling about the original series, transposed into a much faster gameplay loop. This is still glorious, innocent fun with the traditional Worms controls and weaponry. And those without the patience for the traditional Worms experience will truly have that itch scratched here. And it's lovely to see a 3D approach to levels too, even if no one gets to enjoy them for very long. Packing your entire life into a van is stressful, especially when someone does this to your precious furniture and then laughs gleefully at the same time. Moving out is a perfect kid-friendly experience that gets everyone working together overcooked style, instead of frying burgers and chopping lettuce though. The name of the game here is to pack up houses into a van as fast as possible. Working together is vital though. There's no packing up these sofas and tables on your own, so plenty of panicked communication is absolutely necessary while someone else works out the Tetris-style puzzle of making sure how it's all going to fit. And hey, don't worry about all the smashed windows and the mess. That's probably what insurance is for, and when you're under 10, you have absolutely no idea why that would even be a problem. Of course, Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout is on this list. This is a game about jelly beans on legs throwing themselves across seesaws, stealing balls, and desperately trying to jump through hoops. Pure, unadulterated joy for all ages doesn't come much purer than this. But that's not to say that Fall Guys is all sweetness and light. Setting your sights on the crown comes with serious strategy planning and finding ways to avoid the inevitable griefers who just want to make your life a misery. We've spoken a lot on the channel about how games are good for you, and one of the many reasons why is learning to deal with stressful situations in the best possible way. That absolutely includes the feeling of taking on the best that Fall Guys has to offer, failing the first time around, but getting straight back up on your wobbly feet to do it all over again. See? It's character building. And finally, it's time for the co-op joys of Biped. Some of the very best kids games are all about working together, and this is a joyful, colourful multiplayer experience. Plus, robots. It's important to note that you can actually go through this solo if everyone else has plans, but it's extra happy making if you can switch out the CPU for someone real. This is all about Aku and Stila, a pair of friends who require you to use your mouse buttons or analog sticks to make them move. Sure, it starts out simple with walking, but very soon you'll be operating machinery and solving all kinds of puzzles and problems. It's worth saying too that Biped is on the short side, so it makes a great experience if you want the achievement of seeing the credits roll in one sitting. Otherwise, you might want to head into a game like Minecraft Dungeons for something a little heartier. So that's the best games for kids on PC right now. Or for you if you fancy something a little less gory or serious. We're not judging. As ever, let us know your recommendations in the comments below. Drop us a like if you enjoyed this video and subscribe to Logitech G for more. If you do already subscribe, nice work! Remember to hit the notification bell so you know when our next feature lands.